finally over. I have a Stampede VXL, which will be named Zeaus. However, as you can see, I completely took it apart. Now I bought this Stampede used from somebody and they did send it to me completely assembled. It was only missing a servo. There's a few parts that I have to replace, but believe me, that's already taken care of. So what I'm going to do now is everything that's gray, I'm going to go ahead and dye black, clean and reassemble it. It's a lot of steps, but if I can do it with a Bandit, I can do it with a Stampede. So let's get this started. And this is everything that I'm going to be dyeing black. The chassis, the shock bodies, transmission case, bulkhead, battery, I don't know, what is that? Yeah, battery plate. The tie bar, which is made of fiberglass, so I'm not sure how that's going to react to the dye because I've never tried it with fiberglass before. And of course the servo saver. So with the magic of time lapse, everything is now black. Except for the servo saver. I have an experiment to try with that, but at a later date. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this started. For today I'm just going to go ahead and build the transmission. And of course I'm going to start off with the diff gear. And I had to go through and clean all these parts. I don't think this thing has ever been cleaned all the way through. Anyways, there's 4 bars. I'm going to go ahead and put them in. Not that hard. The diff gear, I think it's intimidating just because it's so far into the RC and you have to take apart so many things. But once you get to it, it's not really that complex. Alright, so 4 bars go in, then 4 gears go in. And all the bars are the same size as well as the gears. Alright, they should slide in. Now we're going to get this funny little part, slide that into the hole. Should go all the way down. Now this little bar goes into the end of that last gear I just put in. Just like that. Okay, so now I get to add the grease. Now, a lot of people put different things in here. I just go ahead, I use Moly lithium grease, which you can pretty much get at Walmart or any basic store. However, I would suggest if you ever take your transmission apart, just go ahead and use Traxxas silicone grease. You don't want to fill it up all the way. You want a good amount in there. And of course I'm going to be wearing a glove. This stuff stinks. Once you get it on you, it will not come off. Not easily, at least. And once you do get it off, the smell will stay on you for a long time. Alright, so the other gear goes right on top of that other bar. I'm going to move that around a little bit. Okay. Then the plate goes on. And this should slide all the way in. Just like that. Now there's just 4 screws that hold it together. And I was really curious about how often I should clean out the differential gear, and well, depending on how often you run RC, you should do it at least once a year. It's a lot of steps, but it's not impossible to pull off. Once you do it that first time, then it's not so hard after that. I always found the diff gear really interesting. Just how there's so many other gears inside of it, which allows it to roll in each direction. Simple stuff. Same kind of mechanics you find in a car. In fact, if you actually look at how a card's made, car I mean, not a card, but how it's made, the setup is pretty much identical. Alright, wipe off the spare grease. And these should be moving around freely, which they are. Yep, see how the other one rotates the opposite direction? Perfect. Alright, and now I have my diff gear. Now let's go ahead and take care of all the other gears. So, on each side of the transmission case or gearbox, whatever you want to call it, you slide in a bearing, 2 bearings. And then the last 2 remaining bearings go inside, I think this is the idle gear. Not too sure. Yeah, just like that. Okay, now this thick metal bar goes on there. We put a washer on that side, put the gear on there, and then a washer on the other side. Now, I'll set that down, get this long, or the gear attach it to the long shaft, slide that in, and then the last bearing goes on that side. So a bearing goes on each side of these 2 gears. Then the idle gear slides in there. Alright, it's looking good. So this is where you get white lithium grease. And I just bought a huge tub of it. You can use Traxxas, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and slide that over the idle gear. And I'll spread it throughout the other gears, so I don't really have to get it all over the place. Alright. Yeah, that's perfect. You don't want too much in there, just a little bit. It's pretty funny when I took this apart, all that grease was really black. Okay, now we can slide on the other side of the transmission. And now we have 6 screws to put in. Now one of these screws is shorter than the rest. Just gotta find it real quick. Where is it? There it is. The shortest screw goes there. The other ones, one goes up there. Another right there. Another right there. And another right there. And finally, hey, get in there. The last one goes right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and screw these in, and I'm not going to show that because that's really boring. Alright, there's only one last thing to do, and that is get a piece of electrical tape and put it across the bottom, just like that. And yes, you have to do this. Alright, wipe off that lithium grease. But that is all that I'm going to do for today.